Couldn't tell you anything about it.
I know. I think I'm just a grandma, but whatever.
Hello and welcome to Formally Informal with Leo and Lane. Let's chat about business tips we wish we knew before launching an LLC, things we're still learning the hard way, and how we try to balance all the adulting things life continues to throw our way. So grab a glass of wine and get comfortable because it's time to get formally informal.
Hi, Leo Gang. Welcome back to another episode of Formally Informal. I am Paige here with Lindsay and Kayla. Hello. How are you guys doing this week? Kay, do you want to kick us off with some highs and lows?
Sure. Okay. Hi. So I'm back in the mitten. Shocker, for the 15th time since I've left. Um, all good things though. We did a shoot yesterday. I got to see you guys, spend some time with you guys over the week, which was really fun and good. And then this weekend I have my friends' batch party, which will be really good. So all good things why I'm home, but my low is I'm out of my routine. I'm traveling again. I was like really settling a little bit down there. So I'm going to have to redo that again. And it just like takes time, to like get back into it, especially like working out and eating. Like, I just like want to be in one spot consistently for a little bit. So I'm a very routine person. So now that I'm out of it, and when I get out of it, it's like, ooh.
You don't have any things coming up after this, so for a while, right?
Labor Day, the wedding. So I'll be back in another month.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it's like by the time I get it like ready to roll, like my routine like set for 3-4 weeks, then it's like, just kidding. So
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is the worst. It's like the pro and con to traveling. It's like nice to be back around the fam, but like this isn't home anymore, so you can't like do the things you normally would do.
right. But it's okay. It's all good. It's good stuff. So
Yeah.
what about you guys?
Al, what about you?
Similar. My high is that we had an amazing shoot yesterday. It was fun to all be together. It was fun to go a little bit out of our comfort zone and get glammed up and have a full day shoot. So I think I'm most excited to see all the content that's going to come from that. And I know Harley doesn't join us on these calls, but she has a lot on her plate to edit now. So she's going to be really busy. I think a low for me, and I can't explain it, but I have just been so tired this week, like just exhausted. And I feel like I go to bed at a semi decent hour. I wake up at a decent hour. Like I definitely get my full 8 hours of sleep, but I just don't know if I'm just not entering like the right, stage in my sleep cycle or what it is, but I am just so tired.
I agree with you.
So
That's my low too, and I don't know if there's just like something in the universe or like what the deal is, but um, yeah, like I feel like I cannot get enough sleep, and I'm going to sleep earlier than normal, and then it's like waking up. I cannot get my
we
body
follow
to.
the stars. Maybe we should look at like the moon right now, or like what kind of retrograde is happening. I mean, we don't follow them that well, but like surely there's something that
Even
can
if I
tell
read
us like
about it, I wouldn't even
what is going on.
fully know what I'm looking
I
at, but
know. I know. So I plan on catching up on sleep this weekend. That's my solution for that.
agreed. My high for the week, I love the Olympics, and the Olympics are on. So like my boyfriend and I have so much fun watching them. I don't know if that's like a normal thing, like I'm sure, or if that just like makes me a grandma, but I love watching the Olympics, and like the gymnastics is always so fun. It's just like really cool to watch like all the different sports. So that's been a high for me. It's just like something different. I think it's just like something to watch on TV that like we both enjoy. And
Have
it's
you
like
been so confused seeing Tokyo 2020? Like it threw
yeah.
me.
Oh,
That's in the background of everything. And I'm like, I'm already having stages of like, what day is it and where am I? And so when I lay, like, usually we're watching it from our bedroom and I'll sit down to go to bed and all of a sudden swimming's on. It's like Tokyo 2020 everywhere. I'm just be confused, but
I know. Well, and also too with the whole like time change, I'm watching like I don't know if I'm watching it in real time. It's blowing up on social media everywhere. I don't know if I'm missing things. Like I mean, like the whole time thing is really kind of throwing it off too, because everything's on at like 11 p.m. And like I said, I'm trying to go to sleep earlier, so I'm not staying up that late. So, but like when it's on, it's fun to catch that this week. So, yeah.
Couldn't tell you anything about it.
I know. I think I'm just a grandma, but whatever.
What's your low? Do you have a low this week?
It was being
Tired.
exhausted.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm so exhausted. I didn't even hear it. So sounds good.
All right. So for today's episode, we are chatting about hiring. So as many of you guys know, we all just went through a huge hiring process to grow our team, and we had a lot of incredible candidates that we got to chat with, reach out, go through the whole interview process with. And so we are very thankful for everyone that did apply. It was a pretty wild experience, honestly, that like people that were strangers that we didn't even know were wanting to work for us based on everything that we're showing. So we thought it would be kind of fun though to share the things that stood out to us, and then some things that like stood out in a good way and a bad way that maybe would help future hiring processes for other companies or those that are interviewing for a new job. So kind of share our tips, if you will, from the whole hiring process. But we do want to start out by saying hiring is probably one of the hardest things to do as a business, and like just growing and figuring out the right person for the position. I think it made us think about things a little bit differently, like prior to going in to the interview process. So it was fun. It was hard, but we ended up getting some really great candidates out of it. And I'm excited about the team that we have. So yeah. So for number one tip is the first email goes a long way. And I know Kay has some things to say about this one because it was one of the things that we're all like, I'll let you go into it, Kay. Tell us about the first email.
Yeah, so basically what we said was I would be their first point of contact. So they would email me with the position and resume, and that's a lot to manage from a person when your inbox is flooded. But yeah, I would say first impression email is, so we obviously didn't meet the people, it was over email. So some of the good ones that stood out to us that we proceeded with were introducing themselves. They kind of put a cover letter in the email, I guess you could say. So explaining what position they were interested in, why they were qualified, some like info on us. They did their research on us and our company and why they think they would be a good fit, and then also attached a resume.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that were not bad, but just didn't stick out to us as much were ones that were just like, hey, I'm applying, would love to, chat more, or hey,
Resume attached.
Yeah, like or they didn't attach a resume, or I didn't really know like what they were wanting, or it was just like firing like, hey, here's my resume, or it's just not like intentional, I would say, not saying like what position they were kind of interested in, like why would we even it was kind of just like there was no time and effort put in, and it was kind of just like fired off at like they were applying for 50 different jobs, which is what we do, but just like the ones that stood out to us that we proceeded with were ones that had thought and effort put into them. And then we went into interviewing, which is a whole different beast. But
yeah.
And I think you said it great when you compared it. Like, this is your first impression. So a lot of the times, when you're being asked to submit your resume or even apply online and you have fields to fill out, like that field that says like put more details here or elaborate on the position you're looking for, like, because you don't know how many you're up against. And like you said, Kayla, it's just going to flood your inbox. Like, you want that first impression to be so powerful. And I think, yeah, we definitely saw the ones that were just kind of shotgunned over and just, put it on us to really like figure out. And then the ones where you're going through, I mean, what did you have? 10, 20 emails a day, probably? Like, you're going through and like, what's going to make that stand out compared to the other ones?
Yeah, because we can't interview everyone. So we had to, like, from that from that first email really was like how we decided on who we wanted to, like, they put in the time to send us, so we wanted to put in the time to interview with them versus people that maybe didn't. So yeah, first impression, it's what matters the most, really.
Woo. Yeah.
Number 2 tip, know what you are applying for. So you kind of touched on that a little bit. So we were hiring for 4 very different positions: writer, operations, graphic design, and then social media management. And we had quite a few people actually come into the interview looking for anything available, which then sort of like led us to being on the phone a little longer, trying to figure out what was the best fit for them and for us. And so the thing to note here is just to like do your homework and like ahead of the interview. When you're applying for anything, it causes us, like I said, to just sit on the phone, asking questions, what have you. And I mean, of course, we love a good combo because, why not? But again, time is money, and we were back to back to back to back interviews some of those days among all the other work that we had to be getting done. So that was definitely like frustrating, if you will, when people just came and they're like, anything, what do you like, wherever you want. And we're like, do you even know what we're hiring for?
Yeah,
So
I think it gives us, oh, go ahead, Kay.
I was going to say, and some of the things we were looking for were pretty specific skill sets. So not everyone can just like, it's like me trying to be the photographer and designer. Like, it's not going to happen, even though it's an open position that I would love to work, So it was kind of like some we could give or take, and we kind of did form some different things after we interviewed people actually, but for the most part, it was pretty specific on like what we were needing.
Yeah, it was pretty flattering when people just, wanted their foot in the door and just any chance to work with us. Like, certainly we were thrilled to see the excitement, but I think like ultimately being like coming in with like what you're good at and like confidently applying for that position or maybe a couple different positions if you have multiple skills, it just allows us to have a really direct conversation and be able to not and think of it from the side of the person applying. You're not compared to everyone that's applying. If you apply for anything, you're compared to everyone. But if you're applying for one thing, like it definitely narrows the pool of applicants. And now like what's going to make you stand out as a designer or as an operations manager, and we can just have, because like you said, Paige, we were back to back to back, like having those 10-20 minute conversations can be so much more pointed if we know what you're going for.
And I think too, like in this industry, like you're saying, Kay, is like each position is a specific skill set. So like it was much easier for us to like pinpoint like, yes, it'd be a great fit, or like maybe not, based on them coming like, yes, I can do graphics and photography, or like I'm a great writer and this is why, versus like, yeah, I can do a little bit of everything. It's like, I mean, kind of all can, but like we're not all great at everything, So that's what our team currently is. So that's what we were like really trying to find, those people that would like fill a specific position like really great. So yeah. Number 3, do your research. I think it's very obvious when people came to us having done their research on our company and kind of having like a background on who we were. And of course, it's always like kind of flattering when people come to us and like having known like, oh, we love X, Y, and Z that you do. And, like it just like that set them apart versus someone that seemingly was just interviewing, with multiple companies, which is definitely very possible, especially like this hiring world that we're in right now. So that was definitely like a huge perk, I would say, for those that like came knowing, about these episodes that we do and what our blogs are like and our team and everything. So that was very, very cool. People that really did their research on us.
Yeah, I think golden rule too, like we take the time to do our research on the candidates. Like we had a full spreadsheet and we had notes typed out and we had resumes linked. Like we took the time before going in to make sure that we knew who we were, the person that we were going to talk to. And so I think it's just a common courtesy to do the same. And again, it's like, this is your first in-person or like over Zoom impression, and what is it that you're going to make as a potential candidate?
Yeah, absolutely. Number 4, the look of a resume matters. It really does, especially when you're applying. Of course, it's maybe a little bit different across industries, but when you're applying for a creative role, like for our company, a black and white letter, like not much going on, was kind of like, a letdown. I'm a visual gal, so like that for me was, but then there was one that was like, or a handful that really like came through and they had like taken their time, it showed their personality. That was really cool. And I think to me that stood out. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think you're right. Like a corporate job, you might not submit that, but with us, you kind of had the opportunity to have a little more fun with it.
Yeah.
I think things are changing, obviously. So, I mean, I don't even know if I have a resume. I mean, I do, but like, if I ever.
I thought I saw something too, like TikTok resumes are coming in. Like, I'm not saying to do that for us quite yet, but I think you're right. Like, you have the opportunity to be like, you're applying, especially for a creative position or at a creative agency. Like, again, use that opportunity to stand out. One tip I always give, like when people ask me to like review a resume, or my sister asked me recently, and I'm like, even if it's structured in a more corporate setting, like throw a photo on there. You have an opportunity to put a small headshot. And I think that's really cool. And what you're seeing more of. And I think also like a tip for resumes is narrow it down. Like, I don't need to know about the jobs you worked in high school. Like, include only the work that's relevant to the job you're applying for. So I don't need to see 6 jobs. I'd rather see 2 that are directly tied to the position you're going for. So things like that to think about too. I think, when people have 2 to 3 pages of a resume and it's just so much information, again, it's like way more to sift through. Like, stand out, be concise, and know what you're going for.
Yeah, agreed. The like scrolling of a resume is like, oh my gosh. Everyone has a lot of experience, and like throughout life, I think what you're saying is like stick to the most recent like professional experience that would be applied to the position that you're applying for.
Yeah.
All right, and last one, number 5. When asked to send samples of your work or take a small brand test in round 2, odds are you are up against 1 or 2 other applicants. So we did this kind of towards the end, especially like when it gets hard, when we're like between people and trying to decide who should be, in what position. Like really take that, like make that your time to shine. Really, like you're in round 2, you're up against probably 1 or 2 other people. And we did that, and then it honestly like shifted our way of hiring, which was crazy.
Yeah, I think for us, it made the decision like so clear. Like, we sent out a few different, like, you know what, we're torn on who's going to be our final writer, or like what, if you actually, I don't want to say if you have what it takes, but those were the questions that we were like, will they be a good fit? And so, we threw out just a quick, hey, do these 2 small things. It's going to take you 10 minutes. Like, we just want to see sort of what you're made of. And the ones that really stood out in that exercise are who we ended up going with. And I'm excited to share who those people are coming soon. But that just going that extra mile, putting that little bit of extra detail in, made such an impression on our full team. Like, we were blown away, right? We were not even expecting it. And it was really like refreshing to see that they understood kind of the way to once again stand out.
Yeah. I think too, it just showed that like they were taking it as serious as we were, like after it showed that after the interview process, they were still excited about the role after talking with us and, like going back and forth. Like that was clear, because sometimes you just never know if people are like fully into it, or they're just kind of like interested to learn more. And then like, maybe their heart isn't fully there, but when they took that extra time and like one girl photoshopped things, and like it was just like very apparent that she really wanted the position. I think that was for like, okay, yeah, we want you too.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Do you guys have anything else to add to the hiring process?
I think that I'm just so excited. We found some really good fits. And I mean, even when we onboarded them on Monday, we were all looking at each other around the table saying like we're going to be capable of so much more now. Like, we have some really talented people joining our team, and I'm just so grateful and so excited and so humbled and so ready.
Yeah. know.
Yeah,
We definitely.
definitely needed, I would say, but it's also like one of my least favorite things to do in a leadership role is hire people, just because we all get along so well and we all know like how each other works, and like bringing on new people is necessary, but like finding those right people, which I think we did, is always a challenge, and we've learned that.
Yeah. I know. Now we all officially start next week. So next week is our first week with the extra set of hands. So I'm both excited and nervous for that process. So we'll have to keep you all in the loop on how that goes. Maybe we'll have to do like a recap episode of like, all right, so this is how it really went.
This is how it's really going. No, it'll be good. We need it, and then we can go from
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. All right. Well, with that, let's cheers. I got a little bit of my coffee left. Cheers to a fun week of all of us together and a new week with new hires.
Cheers.
Yay, cheers to that.
Cheers. And thank you everyone for tuning in. If you ever have any questions, drop them in the comments below or comment. We always love to connect with you all. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.